Okay.
Welcome back to the Whiskey Jedi podcast. My name is Jake Berlin. I am the Whiskey Jedi. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope everyone is doing great out there. Just as I'm getting a phone call, as soon as I started talking, my wrist started vibrating, my phone starts going off. But we're good. We're dandy. It's Tuesday evening, February 11th, the show after the Super Bowl, and you guys all know what's coming. I brought it up last week. Each and every year, Super Bowl drops a ton of new footage for a ton of new movies coming out. People pay a ridiculous amount of money for these TV spots, just to basically say new trailer online. And we have a couple of new projects to talk about. So very, very movie heavy today. I know I talk a lot of TV on this show usually, but we're going to be sticking to the feature films for today because a couple of big names dropped some stuff. There were also a couple of other movies that did drop things, but they dropped trailers before the Super Bowl. I'm alluding to both Fantastic Four and Jurassic World Rebirth. We will not be discussing either of those, even though Rebirth came after last week's show. I guess I can briefly say I loved the trailer. I was all about the vibe, the tone. It looks gorgeous. Doesn't shock me whatsoever, being that it's a Gareth Edwards film. I'm not going to say it's bringing back the Jurassic Park magic, but it very much feels like we're in that vein. It's one of 3 movies in the franchise to take place on the island without a massive running park. I guess it's one of 4 films to take place on the island, just about strictly dinosaurs, no extra oomph to the movie, and I expect it to be good. I'll say that. I love the cast, I love the director, and I love the story. Story sounds very, very interesting. We're visiting a brand new island we've never seen before, where all of the crazy bad experiments come from. And I'm excited to see it. So yeah, I'm all in on Jurassic World Rebirth right now. But we have 4 main things to discuss tonight. We have Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. We have Thunderbolts, F1, and How to Train Your Dragon live action were pretty much the 4 main ones. Like I said, Jurassic World and Fantastic Four were there, but they had dropped trailers prior. And so we don't really need to discuss too much on those because those have had plenty of time to breathe. And quite honestly, I haven't talked about these other projects too much compared to the others to this point. So, but yeah, I hope everyone's doing great. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope everyone had a great weekend, a great Super Bowl. If you care about the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. I know I did. I'm not a fan of either, but I'm a Raiders fan and I hate the Chiefs. So I was rooting for the Eagles the entire way. Not to mention my aunt is a die-hard Philadelphia Eagles fan, and it was very joyful. It was a very, very fun night seeing the Chiefs get their teeth kicked in. So I apologize if you're a Chiefs fan, but it's just the nature of the game. So, but yeah, look, very excited. I do want to give a quick update on a few things. So I've mentioned all of my social media before. Obviously, TikTok, I brought that up a couple of different times. Very active over there, trying to build that as much as I possibly can. If you are not following, I'd really appreciate just a quick follow. I know it's a little tricky right now. If you're watching this or listening to this and you got rid of TikTok during the ban and everything, then you can't re-download it until this 90-day probation period ends. So it's a little wishy-washy right now. But if you are not following me and you do watch TikTok even a little bit, just go give me a follow. I greatly appreciate it. It's growing and it's growing at a very nice pace, and it's exciting. I got to find a little bit more ways to be consistent with it on certain things that I'm talking about, and I really want to find ways to do like series. Like I do everything you need to know about blah blah blah, which I really enjoy. But I want to find ways to do more series like that outside of just the reviews that I'm doing. Thank you, John. My Severance recaps are great. Yeah, I appreciate it. I really enjoy reviewing television on TikTok. It's a lot of fun. I'm trying to review everything, but it's very hard to watch everything with everything going on at home right now with Bo and obviously having a 1-year-old. It's tough to watch things sometimes. So like last night I stayed up till midnight trying to binge through as much as I could of The Recruit on Netflix so I can do a season review when I'm done with it. But I can't do that every night. So I know there's a lot coming. I will say that this week alone we have Cobra Kai, the final episodes of Cobra Kai are coming out on Thursday. I'm going to be doing an Everything You Need to Know about Cobra Kai season 6 on tomorrow is going to be dropping on my TikTok. It'll also be on YouTube and Instagram. And then Friday, we have Yellow Jacket season 3 starting, which is a big, big deal. So there's a lot of TV coming my way that I'm going to be able to review, on top of some other things that I just haven't had a chance to get to. Yeah, The White Lotus comes out on Sunday. 1923 season 2 comes out later this month. Reacher season 3 comes out later this month. There's a lot. On top of Captain America Brave New World, I'm seeing on Thursday night. On top of trying to finish The Recruit. A couple of other things that have kind of slipped past me, but I'm enjoying doing it. So I have plenty of things to watch. The point is if you guys a chance, check it out. Give me a follow. Maybe favorite a few things, comment here and there, because the interaction always helps on that app with the algorithm, and I greatly appreciate it. And with that, what I'm trying to say is what I originally wanted to get into is that I really want to try to do some of that on this channel. I don't know how yet. I don't know in what capacity outside of the shorts that I upload, but I would love to add more content to this channel is what I'm trying to say. It's not going to be able to be as frequent as something like TikTok. It just physically can't. I'm not going to be able to step in front of the camera for 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then edit a video and then upload a video as seamlessly as I can do it on TikTok. It's physically not possible. But I would really love to add more videos on this channel. So I'm trying to find a way to do it. It might come in the capacity of like season reviews. So there might be like a Severance season 2 video or a Recruit season 2 video, not Severance season 2 episode 4, stuff like that. Or there might be the first one that might end up being on this channel is a Cobra Kai season 6 part 3 video where it's kind of recapping part 3, talking about it in its whole, discussing the show. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that, because I would love to do it. I feel like if I'm going to be doing this show, I want more things to be alongside of it so it gets a little bit more traction. This is obviously the thing that I love doing the most on this channel. It's the only thing, obviously, right now outside of the shorts. But I would love to be able to add something to it. And so I think because I do shorts and I review episodes on the shorts, I could be able to get away with something like a season review or a season recap or, the spoiler reviews, stuff like that. So, yeah, let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Yeah, look, we're 10 minutes in the show already. Let's dive into everything. I do want to say quickly, as you can see, I am bringing back the whiskey from last week, Bottle and Bond bourbon from Heaven Hill. I liked it so much, I just wanted to drink it again. I haven't had a glass since last week, and it made the most sense. I enjoyed it so much, and a lot of the conversation is going to be dedicated to the things that happened via the Super Bowl, and so why not do something that I have had, but why not do something that I've only had once and is a little bit more familiar with people who watch on a regular basis? So yeah, just brought it back. Also saved me some time on the overlays, which always helps. But it's just fantastic. It's such a great bourbon. I'll bring up an image just so you guys can see a little bit close up and personal of it. It's the image you can see in the corner there, but Bottle and Bond Heaven Hill, straight from Kentucky. It's actually from Louisville, Kentucky. That's where the distillery is for Heaven Hill. Just a very, very, very good bottle of whiskey, and one that I will absolutely recommend if anybody asks me. So, cheers! Thank you for joining me again, and let's go and dive into some Mission Impossible. I'm not going to spend too much time on Mission Impossible because, I mean, it's kind of like rinse and repeat right now with this franchise in the best way possible. Ever since ever since Christopher McQuarrie stepped in and did Rogue Nation, then followed that up with Fallout, and then followed that up with the Dead Reckoning, and now he's going to follow that up with the Final Reckoning. It's just incredible the work that he and Tom Cruise and company have been able to put into this franchise and how good they all are. And I know that we all differ in our opinions on each of the films, and I know that there's favorites for everybody. Each film is someone's favorite. But to me, they've each gotten better. Like Ghost Protocol, which was directed by Brad Bird, was unbelievable because of what it stepped itself up from something like Mission Impossible 3, which I love. J.J. Abrams did a great job with that film. But then Ghost Protocol came along and like blew our socks off, right? It was a 6-year wait. Tom Cruise was returning after maybe not coming back to the franchise. It was supposed to be, passing of the torch to Jeremy Renner. But the movie was so good that it became Tom Cruise's franchise again. But then Christopher McQuarrie steps in, does Rogue Nation. And to me, Rogue Nation was better than Ghost Protocol. Unbelievable. And for the first time in the franchise, there was connective tissue between the films. We were seeing the stories overlap, and it wasn't a mission per film, right? The missions were kind of bleeding into each other. Because then we got Fallout. And Fallout is obviously like, wow, how are you able to do Rogue Nation, which was such an incredible feat, and then do something like Fallout? And then he comes up with the Dead Reckoning, which is just an unreal piece of cinema, in my opinion. Just the stunt work, the story, again, like the bleeding of the stories that came from the previous films, but kind of created something new, a new avenue to take the story. And then we have the Final Reckoning coming, which you have the Dead Reckoning theme and the vibe of the movie. You can 100% feel it through the trailer. Obviously, we know that it was originally called the Dead Reckoning Part 2. They reworked some things. I know a lot of people probably talk about that due to the fact that the Dead Reckoning maybe didn't make as much money, which I can understand that argument. But to me, it does feel like they decided that possibly this could be the final time we see these characters. Like, this is it. Mission Impossible 8. Which I'm not against. Like, I'm absolutely not against because of how incredible these movies have been and how long this franchise has been going. Was it 99, 97-ish, right? 96, 97, 98, somewhere around there. And the possible final movie is dropping in 2025. It's been going for almost 30 years. So, no, well, yeah, I mean, close to 25 years, I guess, if my math is correct. But yeah, look, the trailer itself, it didn't show a lot, which I think is fine. As I mentioned earlier, it's what you see is what you get with these movies right now. And that is not a bad thing because they've been incredible. And the trailer is fast paced. It's very quick. It's quick shots, very, very fast cuts between each other. We're seeing glimpses of the stunts that we're going to be seeing. Obviously, the one that everyone is talking about because we got some images before the trailer dropped is Tom Cruise on the plane, strapped to a plane going upside down. Just some absolute insanity. But also, there's a stunt that I think we got a very quick glimpse of, and they did drop an image for it, but Tom Cruise in going underwater and how he was only allowed to wear this suit or this equipment for like 5 minutes or something until it pressurized and it would have killed him. So they had to get in and get out essentially for this scene. That's one thing that I walked away from the Dead Reckoning when everything was revealed towards the end of the film. I walked away realizing that Dead Reckoning Part 2 at the time, but the Final Reckoning, a chunk of the story is going to take place underwater. which is something we've never really seen before with these movies. We did have the sequence in Rogue Nation where Tom Cruise had to go underwater in that absolutely just horrifying, anxiety-filled scene that he did underwater. So we have that sequence, but we haven't had a lot of things that happen underwater like this. The submarine that they're going after is submerged. So we're going to have a lot of things happen in open water, which is super exciting. And it's one of my most anticipated films of the year. Like there's no question about it. I'm a Mission Impossible fanboy. Have been. Ethan Hunt is obviously very far behind someone like James Bond because of the work that James Bond has put in since the 60s. But as far as an American spy, the argument can be made that he is better than Jason Bourne right now. Because the Jason Bourne films are widely considered some of the greatest action espionage films ever, especially when it comes to the overall trilogy. I mean, those films are phenomenal. Like, phenomenal. What Paul Greengrass and Matt Damon did with those movies, just unbelievable work. I know the fourth one came out, well, as well as the Jeremy Renner one, but the fourth one came out. It wasn't as good, but I still very much enjoyed it as a Jason Bourne fan. The argument can be made that Mission Impossible is better than that franchise. As far as an American espionage spy character and movies go. And I think The Final Reckoning could definitely be the nail in the coffin for Jason Bourne. I think the Jason Bourne movies are over. Matt Damon isn't obviously doing what Tom Cruise is doing. And so The Final Reckoning can cement this franchise as one of the best action franchises to ever exist. I think it already is, in my opinion. But like, if they end on a note, which I think they're capable of ending on, Mission Impossible will be talked about forever. And keep this in mind, I'm talking about this as if this is the last one. We don't know if this is the last one. We don't. And everyone's been asking, and there's been comments, and I'm not buying into anything right now, but we don't know if this is or not. I believe that Tom Cruise was actually asked this throughout this week, or he was quoted in an article, and he basically said, "You're just going to have to watch to find out." You know, that's what every person would say in that situation, because we don't want that revealed or not. Now, are they going to kill Ethan Hunt like they did James Bond? I doubt that. I doubt Tom Cruise is going to let himself be killed on screen, but you never know. I think it's possible. I think it's very possible that we could see Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt rather sacrifice himself in some way because of how high the stakes really are. They're by far the highest they have ever been in this entire franchise. I know that almost every threat is like world threatening, but this is like ultimate world threatening. We're dealing with artificial intelligence that is on the verge of controlling everything. So, which is something that I completely forget about when I think of Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning, that it's basically about AI, but like super realistic AI. I remember having that conversation walking out of the theater. It's a very extremely realistic today style of AI, not some super crazy stuff like Terminator or Eagle Eye or any of that. It feels very realistic, which I'm all about. John Pierce, I love the series. I kind of hope it's done though. I'm kind of in the same boat. Like you don't want to go until it gets bad, right? It's the line from The Dark Knight, the Harvey Dent line. You either die a hero or you see yourself, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? You don't want to go so long that it becomes terrible, a la the Fast and the Furious franchise. Fast and the Furious should have ended at Fast 7 at the latest. But now we're getting 2, 3, 4 movies that have just been awful since Fast 7. Fast 7 was the last good film, and it was a beautiful ending in the franchise, and they continued on because it's the only thing Vin Diesel has to do. It's the only thing he has, and the only thing he has control over. Anyway, I'm not comparing Fast and the Furious with Mission Impossible, but I do agree with you, John. I think it would be a really good time to end it. I do wish Jeremy Renner's character would come back, but maybe we're in for a surprise. We'll see. All right, let's go and shift gears. Mission Impossible, I'm sure we'll talk about it as it gets closer. Definitely do a massive review on it once it comes out, but for the time being, that'll cover everything Mission Impossible. Let's move the conversation to one of the Marvel films coming out this year. We have what everyone has kind of been deeming Marvel's Suicide Squad, but absolutely not even close to Marvel Suicide Squad. Very, very, very different film. We have the new trailer for Thunderbolts. This new poster, which is a great looking poster. We have all those characters here who have been brought together. We obviously have Yelena, who can be seen as the leader alongside Bucky. And in the trailer, we got confirmation that Bucky is essentially the one who brings them all together. And then we have John Walker from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have Red Guardian over there, Ghost, Taskmaster. And then back there, Lewis Pullman, a.k.a. Bob, a.k.a. the Sentry, a.k.a. the Void. The Void has been confirmed. And that is something that we can get into in this. If you guys have questions, please let me know. Again, not a super long trailer, which I appreciated. I know that the movie is still a lot, quite a ways away. We obviously have a number of months until this film comes out. So we'll be seeing a lot more footage. But I like that they kept things simple. And we know everything we need to know right now to this point. We don't need to see anything else. We don't need to know anything else. They're obviously going to do their due diligence when it comes to marketing, which is fine. But everything has been revealed that we need to know about. We know what the story is about. Obviously, not all of the major details, which is what you leave the movie for, of course. But we know who is involved. We know how they're involved. And we know where the location is. So basically, all of these characters are running around doing kind of their own thing in a way. Troubled after the events they have gone through. Obviously, John Walker and what he went through in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yelena is still kind of in a way getting over Black Widow's death, losing her sister. Red Guardian is being Red Guardian. We don't really know what's happening with Ghost and Taskmaster, but Bucky seems to be working for Val, which I'm sure will come up. And then Lewis Pullman's Bob, a.k.a. Robert Reynolds, has what feels like is either an experiment or someone who Val took under her wing and is living in the ex-Avengers Tower. And we'll get into Bob here in a second because he is the key to everything here. But the trailer itself, I got to be honest, it looks way better than I expected it to. It really does. And I've always been excited for Thunderbolts. I've always been excited for this movie and to see these characters come together because I love Yelena. I think she is such an incredible character. They've done such great work with her so far. I like where they left John Walker off. I was just curious on where he was headed. And then Bucky Barnes is Bucky. I mean, he's Cap's best friend. He's been in a lot of good stuff. Obviously, he's part of the Avengers in the whole Endgame situation. But and I'm interested in what Ghost and Taskmaster look like and how they kind of fit into this and where they are if Val's, bringing together these anti-heroes, etc. But the movie looks really good. I love the tone. It has these very serious, dark, intense moments that are filled with comedic, lighthearted moments because of the characters. It's not forced into the film because that's what they want to do with the movie, but it's coming from the characters. Like Red Guardian is not going to fit into an extremely serious, world-ending, intense movie that is up for Oscars, right? He fits into a film that's going to require him to kind of be the jokester a little bit. And Bucky kind of plays with that as well. And some of those other characters are obviously going to be fighting that because of who they are. But I'm loving the feel and vibe that we're getting from it so far. I'm still figuring out how I feel about this specific group together, but I'm sure the movie will will sway me. And I'm going to be honest, and I know that we haven't really seen anything from them this year yet, but I think the MCU, like, this is the year that everyone's like, okay, yeah, they're back. Even though I never felt like they were fully gone, a lot of people did. I think Captain America Brave New World is going to surprise the hell out of a lot of people. I think Thunderbolts might be the best movie they released this year. And then we have all the TV shows. I mean, Daredevil will probably be the best MCU project all year long. A lot of things are going well for them right now. And I think Thunderbolts is something that is going to surprise a lot of people and be very, very good. But let's get into what everything means. And I did a video about this on TikTok. It's up on YouTube Shorts. It's on my Instagram as well. Bob, Lewis Pullman's character Bob. It has been confirmed, and it's been speculated, and we've seen him in images and stuff like that. But Lewis Pullman is playing a character named Robert Reynolds. And Robert Reynolds is the Sentry, who has a alter ego known as the Void. And in the comic books, Robert Reynolds is an ex-addict or an addict who steals what is known as the Golden Century Serum. And the Golden Century Serum is essentially them trying to recreate or a play off of the original Super Soldier Serum, which is what most things are recreated off of from Captain America. But this serum gives Robert Reynolds the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. He basically becomes Marvel's version of Superman. It's the easiest way to explain it. Super speed, super strength, super durability, flight. But one thing that he has that Superman doesn't have is he's able to manipulate matter on a molecular level. And we see this in the trailer. And I wish I would have grabbed an image. But there's a sequence in the trailer where he has his hand out and he's turning people into shadows. That isn't the Sentry. That's what is known as the Void, his alter ego. When Robert Reynolds took the Golden Century Serum and became the Sentry, a very dark, a very aggressive, and a very destructive entity known as the Void attached to him at the same time. And the Void can be a very dark conscious inside your head playing with your emotions, but it can also become a physical being and talk to the Sentry and basically manipulate him. This dark entity it basically brings out and highlights all of the Sentry's negativity and everything that is bad in him. And this character, his entire time, outside of a couple of different things that are happening in the comic book specifically, it's an inner turmoil battle between the two characters of the Sentry and the Void. Robert Reynolds is trying to fight off the Void and do good, but the Void wins sometimes, and it's crazy. Like right now, he instantly becomes the most powerful being in the universe. Maybe not like right this second, but when he fully embodies his powers, he becomes the most popular, or not most popular, the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe. Stronger than Scarlet Witch, stronger than Captain Marvel, stronger than Hulk, stronger than Thor. He has fought all of those characters, or specifically Thor and Hulk in the comic books. He is strong. And so now I'm curious on how Thunderbolts are going to fight him, knowing that the majority of them are just, and it's mentioned in the trailer, it's played to as a joke, but they all shoot guns and throw punches. Bucky Barnes, Yelena, John Walker. Alexei has super strength, but he's older and he throws punches and shoots guns. Right? How are they going to fight this being? Well, a lot of the trailer has seen Bob alongside the Thunderbolts. It's 100% going to be a battle between the inner turmoil of those two characters, the Sentry and the Void. And I would not be surprised if Bucky finds a way to do some type of mind wipe thing, a la what was happening to him as Winter Soldier, to basically throw the Void down in a deep, dark hole in the Sentry's consciousness. this for a visual standpoint, in the Winter Soldier, we see Bucky hooked up to a machine where they're wiping his memories, right as he's asking all the questions of like, did I know Steve Rogers, et cetera, et cetera. They have him biting on like a football mouth guard, and they're wiping his memory. Something like that can wipe Robert Reynolds's consciousness and memory to have him realize that the void actually doesn't exist, and it will keep the void at bay. Because they're not going to be able to beat the character one-on-one. They can't, unless someone superpowered comes to help them, like a Doctor Strange, because they're in New York. That's not possible, though. Which is another question is, how is it all of this happening in New York, but all of the New York characters aren't involved in this? Doctor Strange, Daredevil, Spider-Man, right? Is it our New York, or is it possibly in the void? It's a good question. There's a lot of people around, but how is it possible that they're actually there without our heroes actually there? I'm sure it'll be answered, but that's a big, giant question. If it actually is real New York, how is all of that happening? Anyway, so yeah, look, they're bringing the Sentry to screen. He's a badass. I'm super excited that Lewis Pullman's playing him. I think Lewis Pullman is a great, great actor, and I cannot wait to see him in costume. There's a shot right as he threw. There's a shot of him throwing Alexi out the window, Red Guardian out the window, and you can see his arm with his wrist plate and then his blonde hair, which is a very signature of the Sentry look. Because Lewis Pullman in this picture right here doesn't have like super blonde hair. When he becomes the Sentry, he has like he gets these golden locks, essentially. Very Thor-esque. And I'm really excited to see Lewis Pullman in this getup of the Sentry with the giant S, the S on the belt buckle, the cape. I mean, we saw the back shot of him in the shadows, the silhouette of him floating. I'm really looking forward to this character come to screen. It's going to be very, very exciting. All right, a couple comments. Shaw, what's up, buddy? Thanks for watching, man. To earlier, I mean, come on. Even just talking about it sounds a lot like Suicide Squad. Yeah, I mean, it does, but I think it's very different because it's for very different reasons. Like they don't have an Amanda Waller per se. Like Val is she's eventually going to be the villain. She's not a good person. And I don't think like they don't have chips in their head. So sure, like for argument's sake and for lack of better terms, we'll call it Marvel's Suicide Squad, but I do think it's very, very different. Optimism Prime. What's up, Jesse? If you had to speculate on a character that would be in the movie that we don't know about, what surprise could you see? Interesting question. Surprise character. Agent 13. Sharon Carter. How about that? Sharon Carter. Because what the hell has she been doing after everything with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Is she working for Val? Is she working for someone else? What has she been up to? But she fits into this world very, very well. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Sharon Carter, Agent 13. Emily Van Camp. Sarju, thank you for the comments. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man kicks butt. I agree with you. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is good so far. That is Adam Man. Adam Man. Is that another name for Sentry? Another thing I did want to mention is that the very, very sad, clear indication that Taskmaster is 100% being killed off almost immediately. Like, immediately. We have only ever seen the character in that original scene of them all coming together for the first time and shooting at each other. We have not seen her anywhere else. And it's a big bummer because Taskmaster is actually a really rich character with a lot of cool stories. And they got Olga Kurylenko to play her, which is unreal. And then more than likely, we're not going to see her make it through half of the film. Think of I know I'm not making the argument better for myself, but think of the guy from the original Suicide Squad that his head got blown up right away from trying to escape. That's how fast Taskmaster's probably going to die. Because one of and not that it's going to be an MCU thing, but for the Century or the Void, a signature like kill move for him is actually ripping people in half. Slipknot, thank you, Big G. What happens if that actually happens in this movie and the Void rips Taskmaster in half? We've seen half a body in a Marvel movie before. Multiverse of Madness did it. Very well could happen again. But I am bummed if Taskmaster doesn't make it out of the film, because I do think the character has not been given a shot whatsoever. But at the same time, you can't give every single comic book character a shot like you can in the comic books when it comes to films. You just can't. There's not enough story in a cohesive universe to be able to do that. So some characters are going to take a back seat. And unfortunately, Taskmaster has taken a massive back seat ever since the debut in Black Widow. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. I really do. I just don't know where that character fits in to the overall story and universe after a movie like Thunderbolts. And the same goes for someone like Ghost. I don't really know where Ghost goes after a movie like Thunderbolts as well. And they don't technically have to go anywhere, but we've seen almost every character that we've ever met go somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see. Sarju, last question before we move on here, or comment, I should say. Ghost might be able to get the Void into the quantum world. Very, very interesting. Could this film take place in the quantum world? A different version of the quantum world that we're used to, right? I just keep going back to the fact that they're in New York and Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Doctor Strange are nowhere to be found. Wong, nowhere to be found. And all of the other characters as well that we're familiar with from New York. But I'm sure the film will answer. I'm sure the film will answer that question. So, all right, let's go and move on to the next trailer of the Super Bowl. We have Joseph Kosinski's F1 movie starring Brad Pitt. And we have had a teaser trailer for this before. And we got another quick, I'm going to call it a teaser trailer because it was very much a teaser trailer. Very quick teaser for F1. And if you don't recognize the name Joseph Kosinski, he did Top Gun Maverick a few years ago. He also has done films like Tron Legacy, which you guys know how much I love both of those films. And I retweeted this on X Twitter. Actually, hold on a second, guys. A couple comments about Thunderbolts before I get through. Optimus Jesse, I think that's Daredevil, Thunderbolts, and the Fantastic Four about to be fired. Every trailer comes to Brave New World, my excitement, which has me concerned. Wait, I think that's Daredevil, Thunderbolts, and the Fantastic Four are about to be fired. Every trailer inclement comes to Brave New World. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I don't think you should be concerned, Jesse. I don't think you should be concerned. Andy, well, I'm guessing the film will end with Thunderbolts becoming the Dark Avengers. Enough of the characters are there from the typical lineup. I agree with you. I think that's what the asterisk is for. Asterisks, however you say it. I think they will be known as the Dark Avengers after this, for sure. Which is a good thing. Which, I'm curious if it becomes a franchise. I think it could become a franchise, but how do they fit into everything else? I think it's a brilliant, brilliant play is that Thunderbolts becomes the Dark Avengers, right? Anti-heroes who are trying to save the world and find a moral compass. But yeah, I agree with you. That's something I didn't mention, so thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, back to F1. Joseph Kosinski coming off an incredible performance with Top Gun Maverick. He's been doing this film ever since with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, excuse me, is playing an older race car driver in the F1 series. And I'm just going to say right now, this film has the ability to do what Top Gun Maverick did. Now, look, it does not have Tom Cruise. I get it. Doesn't have Miles Teller and Glenn Powell. It's not a sequel to a former franchise that lived 30 years prior. I get it. There's a lot going against it. But I think this film is going to change the way we look at racing movies. Like, really, really look at racing movies. Like, we've had good racing movies in the past, good car films. Rush is one that comes to mind. Obviously, right? Chris Hemsworth, Daniel Bruhl, an F1 film. But then we had Ford v Ferrari, right? We had Gran Turismo 2 years ago, maybe last year, 2 years ago, I think, which I thought was very good. We have the car stuff like Fast and the Furious. We have the car stuff like Need for Speed. But I think this film has the chance to change the way we look at racing films. It's going to be probably some of the best action we see all year long, and quite possibly the best, most high-octane action we've seen since Top Gun Maverick. Kosinski's going from fighter pilots and fighter jets to F1 cars going over 200 miles an hour. You don't think he can bring the same thing from that film to this movie? I mean, if he is able to do what I think he's able to do with this movie and deliver an incredible experience with some of the best action we've seen, and Brad Pitt in a role that I think has a chance to give him an opportunity at a nomination in some capacity, I think this role for Brad Pitt is going to be very different to a role of than Tom Cruise as Maverick. I think this role is going to require a lot more on the acting drama side, where he's dealing with a lot more. And I'm not going to say right now that he's going to be nominated, but I think Brad Pitt is going to show the F up in this film. Like, show up big time. I'm so excited for this. I think I had it as my number 2 most anticipated of the year. I think I had Mission Impossible and then F1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I had The Final Reckoning as my number 1, and I had F1 as my number 2. The Running Man is my 3, Fantastic Four is my 4, and Sinners is my 5. Yeah, I there's just John Pierce, it is current day F1. It's set in current day, and it's not based on any true story. It's not based on a prior event or anything. It's just a film set in the F1 world. And I could not be more excited. So all your modern day technology and everything that racing has today, they will have in this film. I can just picture, like, remember when we were leading up to Top Gun Maverick and we were talking about how Joseph Kosinski stuck 16 cameras inside a fighter jet to film for a scene. Or we have those shots in the film that of the camera attached to the side of the F-18 as he's doing his run. Just translate that on top of a race car, close to the pavement, right? With the stands of, the crowds in the stands and other cars and like the sounds of an F1 engine in your eardrum. It's gonna be awesome. Like, it's gonna be really, really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much other to say than that. I mean, my excitement is pretty much through the roof for this film. I think that we're gonna probably see that the film's not for a little while. Let me make sure on the release date. So it doesn't come out until June June 27th is when it comes out. We're not even close to seeing like real marketing amp up, and we haven't even seen like a full-blown trailer for the film yet. We've only seen some teasers. And I mean, I think as the movie gets closer, I think the excitement for it's going to get a lot bigger. Just my opinion. Optimism Prime. I got to be honest. I was using talk to text because I'm at work with that comment earlier, and it came out completely gibberish. That's my bad. No worries, Jesse. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for tuning in while you're at work, man. Andy, the trailer felt too much like a music video to me, but it's a solid cast. Interesting. Huh. Very interesting take. I mean, I disagree, but hey, hopefully you're able to be swayed a little bit more like I am as it gets closer. Sarge, third-person camera off a race car is cinema. Agreed. Great comment, Sarge. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. And I'll definitely be talking about it as the trailer comes out. I don't know if I'll watch it, but it'll give me another chance to talk about it. So we'll see. All right, moving on to the final trailer discussion of the evening. Let's go ahead and talk about How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon. Again, another teaser trailer that was dropped, and the teaser trailer did say new trailer coming either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. So we could be seeing a brand new trailer tomorrow or a week from tomorrow. I don't think it was specified, so let me know if I'm wrong. But another 30-second look at this movie, and I've mentioned it before on previous shows. I was completely against the movie before we saw anything for it, but the second they dropped everything, I was completely flipped. I think my love for the animated movies just came through too much because I saw what they were doing and how good it looked. Now, don't get me wrong. If I had the choice to have this movie and not have this movie, I don't need a How to Train Your Dragon live-action adaptation. I don't need to see a re-up of those animated movies. I think it's the best animated trilogy of all time. The 3 movies to me are perfect. I have no notes on any of them. So I didn't need, and not to mention that the third film came out in 2018, so we're not that far removed from the last movie. I think it was 2018. Pretty sure it was 2018. It's been almost 10 years, which is fair. It's fine. It's been 7 years or so. But I didn't need it, especially because it was going to be a retelling of the original film with some tweaks here and there. And Dean DeBlois came back as the director, which I think was a very smart move because you have the original creator from those movies coming to direct this one. There's no one in the world who knows that franchise more than Dean DeBlois. And then they dropped that teaser and that teaser poster, which I just showed on screen. And this just emotion started coming over me. Teared up. The way Hiccup looks, I think looks great. I think Toothless is just unbelievable looking. Like shockingly unbelievable. And it just looks like everything I would want to see from a live action adaptation, just too soon. Right? Like just a little too early. Like, don't get me wrong, my ass is going to be in that seat Thursday night watching this movie. And I wish Bo was a few years older so I could take him. Like, I would absolutely love to enjoy this movie with my son, but he's not old enough yet, and we'll get there one day. It looks like, and I'm trying my best to not get too excited because I have felt this way before with a former movie when we watched The Lion King back in 2017 or 2015, 2017. The Lion King is my all-time favorite animated movie. And side note real quick, we turned it on for Bo first time like 2 weeks ago. He's in love with it. It makes me so happy as a dad, knowing that it's my favorite animated movie of all time. And he is hooked in. Like yesterday, it was yesterday. He had just woken up from a nap. He was still a little groggy. Sat on the couch. I put it on. And he was so invested into it, he tipped over while watching it. It makes my heart so happy. Anyway, so look, I'm trying to withhold all the excitement I have for it because of what happened with The Lion King. The only difference is this movie is focused on more of the human side rather than the talking animal side, which is going to help it massively. That allows the film to take liberties and us be okay with it. And even though we didn't want an exact retelling of The Lion King, they did an exact retelling of The Lion King. And look, I don't hate The Lion King. It's not it's not the best live action adaptation. I admit that, but I still do enjoy it as a fan. This movie, it has the chance to be really, really good. Just hearing the music and seeing the visuals and the recreation of certain shots, and being that the original film is now 15 years old, well, a little over 14 years old, I should say, and seeing some of those shots recreated in live action with Toothless and Hiccup, Gerard Butler coming back, right? You have the creation of the other dragons, which they look similar, but they're not as bright in colors, because why would that make sense in live action? You know, I was a little against some of the cast decisions at first. I'll get over it. The only part of this story that matters to me is the relationship between Toothless and Hiccup. If you successfully tell that story, you win at this movie. That is at its core, at the heart of the franchise, all that matters with these movies. And if you are able to recreate that on screen in live action with Mason Thames and Toothless, then you win. You not only win as far as critics go, you not only win as far as box office goes, but you win with the fans who have been with you since 2010. You win with the fans who have been reading the books ever since they came out. Because for those of you who didn't know, How to Train Your Dragon is actually a book series. And Dean DeBlois, the director, has said that they didn't adapt a lot of things in the animated movies because they couldn't in animation. But they are doing things in live action that are going to differ from the animated films that connect a little bit more to the books. Which is exciting because that means we're going to be getting a little tweaks here and there that are different. And I am 100% okay with that. I know a lot of you may be disagreeing with me. I think Andy, you are one of them who disagrees with me. And that's okay. But I hope that this movie is good for our sakes as fans of this franchise. So we'll see. But everything so far has been stellar. Like, it's been absolutely stellar for this film. It looks beautiful. The music is incredible. I think right now the acting looks like it's going to be good enough, if not better than good enough. And yeah, I put this in my tweet when I retweeted it, but I'm going to 100% cry during this movie. There's no question in my mind that I'm going to be tearing up watching this film. And you bet your ass I'm going to be seeing this in IMAX. Those flying sequences with Toothless and Hiccup over the water, through the rocks, everything that they do together in the first movie where they're trying to figure out each other, the relationship, right? The wing, the foot pedals, just everything. I am going to lose my mind. And I got to see it in IMAX. Shaw, can't wait. I'm with you, man. We gotta go to IMAX for this one. Andy, the books were so different, so I can't see this connecting enough to make a significant difference. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a massive difference, but Dean DeBlois has come out and said that they're trying to do some things different from the animated movies that could feel a little bit more similar to the books. And honestly, like, how many times have we had the conversation that we don't want an exact retelling of the books in live action or an adaptation because we already have that? Or in like Disney's case, we don't need an exact retelling of that film because we already have that movie. In this case, while it's all the same, the story beats are the same, The result is the same. We're going to be having 3 different tellings of the story because one is on pages, one is in animation, and one is in live action. That's pretty cool. Like, at the end of the day, that is pretty cool that we're going to be able to have those different types of mediums with the same story, just being told a little different here and there. Like, we all know what happens, but it's about the journey, like the adjustments they're making inside the journey that could be surprising for people. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to what they're able to cook up with this. But like I said earlier, I am trying to temper my expectations because I do not want them to be broken. I want this movie to be good if they're doing this. I mean, they're doing this, so this movie better be good. As a fan, this movie better be good. All right, let's go ahead and shift into the final segment of tonight's show. We're going to get into this week's recommendation, and it's a very, very easy one and probably one that everyone has seen. But I'm going to be recommending Netflix's Daredevil. But on top of that, I'm going to be recommending Netflix's Daredevil and Netflix's The Punisher. Both of those shows are available on Disney Plus. They are Netflix shows, but because Disney now owns the rights, they are on Disney Plus. And obviously, the reason why I'm recommending it is because we are now within a month of Daredevil Born Again coming out on Disney Plus. It is the perfect opportunity to give yourself a refresher and go watch Daredevil and Punisher before season 1 of Born Again comes out. I am starting my rewatch this week. I actually might start it tonight. I rewatched Daredevil late last year, and I'm doing it again because I cannot be more excited. You have three seasons of television for Daredevil. I believe there's 13 episodes per season, if I have that right, which would put that at 39 episodes. And then you have Punisher, which I don't know how many episodes The Punisher is. It's probably closer to like 8 or 10 per season. Oh, no, there's 13 episodes in season 1 and 13 episodes in season 2. So, okay. So there's 39 episodes of Daredevil and there's 26 episodes of The Punisher. Get to watching. It's a lot of TV before Born Again, but get to watching. If you're only going to watch one, obviously only watch Daredevil. Because from what I have been told, Punisher is in season 1, but his story is more relevant and involved in season 2. But still, give yourself a chance and watch seasons 1 and 2 of Punisher, because not only are they great, but Karen Page is in Daredevil, or in Punisher, excuse me. And you'll get a funny surprise because season 1 actually has Eben Moss Bachrach, who is playing Ben Grimm in Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm variant? Anybody? Possible? Just kidding. No, I mean, it happens. Look, actors have played multiple characters before, especially when they're disfigured and in makeup and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be doing my rewatch of Daredevil, and I'm going to be tracking it on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I don't know if I'll be doing like single episode reviews because it's so many of them. But I might do like a midway season and an end of the season. So there might be like somewhere between 6 and 10 videos for Daredevil over the next month leading into Born Again. And I'm hoping I have enough time to watch The Punisher. I plan on it, but obviously because of the homestead and what's going on at home with the kiddo and everything, we'll see if I actually get to it. I don't want to be staying up to midnight every night, but I might. I might be so locked in that I might. So, yeah, get to watching. We have, actually, let me count. Because it's March 4th is when Daredevil comes out. And it's Tuesday. It's a Tuesday, actually. We are officially 3 weeks out tonight from Daredevil Born Again. And I'm going to be honest, guys. The day of the show might shift because of Daredevil Born Again. I'm going to be honest right now. I might shift the show because of Daredevil Born Again. And the reason why is because I'm trying to put together an actual review show to have on the channel. I mentioned it earlier, a few weeks ago. I don't know if it's happening, but I might have a live review show of each episode each week here on the channel, and I would want to leave open Tuesday nights to watch it, and then maybe do like a Wednesday night show or something. But that's a massive TBD. So I'm not going to put too much confidence behind that right now. But come March, you might see, for the time being, while Daredevil is airing, you might see the show on Monday nights and then a possible review show on Wednesday nights. I will say this, though. Obviously, I plug it all the time. I will be doing episode reviews on my TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, etc. And those will be posted on Tuesday night after I watch the episode. So you'll be able to hear my thoughts individually very quickly on the episodes. Spoiler, Tuesday nights. But I'm trying my best to put together some type of review show with maybe another person in mind, maybe another two. We'll see if it comes together. So I will keep you guys updated on that. But for now, for the time being, go watch Daredevil. It's the perfect time to do so. I'm going to be doing the same. And if you have time, also check out The Punisher, because they are both incredible. All right, final comments, questions of the evening. John Pierce, unrelated, have you seen Saturday Night? I have not. It's on my list. I know it's available on Netflix. I just finished watching a couple of shows that I had been trying to like binge through that have freed up a few things. And so I plan on watching that very, very soon. And then I will be doing a Better Late Than Never review on the socials. So look out for that. Jesse, playing any video games lately? Marvel Rivals. I haven't touched my console in probably close to 3 or 4 years. It's tough. Video games are hard. They're very, very low on the priority totem pole with family life and everything. So unfortunately, no. I've heard Rivals is great, but if I was to ever pick up my console again, it would be for things like PGA and maybe Call of Duty. That's a big fat maybe. Things like the Star Wars games, stuff like that. I would hardly ever buy a new video game unless it's something I really, really, really want to buy. Like if I was to buy a video game right now, it would be the Indiana Jones game. I just unfortunately don't have the time for it right now. So, especially with me going all in on TikTok and other socials for content. So, but I've heard it's great. I've heard it's really, really good. All right. Well, that's going to call it for this evening, everybody. I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you guys for being here every Tuesday night. I know I say it every single week, but I really can't thank you guys enough for being here. I hope the time works out. I love doing this, and whether it's something like breaking down trailers or talking news or a subject, it's very, very enjoying or joyful for me, and it kind of gives me a nice little breather. I will say quickly before you guys head out, next week will absolutely be a breakdown review of Captain America: Brave New World. It might be the entire episode. I haven't fully decided yet, but I know for a fact I'll have at least one guest with me, which I'm excited about. So stay tuned for that. Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific. I'm seeing it on Thursday night. And so you'll see my review, my spoiler review up on TikTok and everything come Thursday. I might do a spoiler-free and then a spoiler one. Just because I will be watching the film so quickly, I don't want to ruin it for other people. But I'm very much looking forward to it. It's the first time I've been in a theater since Gladiator, so it's been 3 months. I'm really, really excited to get back into the movie theater and enjoy a film. So stay tuned for that. It'll be posted to YouTube Shorts. It'll be posted to Instagram. I'm also trying my best to stay up on things like posting to Big Sky, Threads, and X. X is the bottom of the totem pole right now because I could care less about that app right now. But if you follow me everywhere, you will find it. So let me know if you guys have any questions. But stay tuned for next week as we'll be reviewing Captain America: Brave New World. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Hope you guys are all doing well. Again, Heaven Hill bottled and bond bourbon. Check it out. Incredible whiskey. Cannot recommend it enough. Honestly, a really good price of $50 for how good it is. And yeah, so thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll catch you guys next time. Good night, guys.